All right. Corey comes from a background in timeshare with Marriott. He was basically a heavy hitter in the Marriott days, jumped into real estate because he was frustrated because he could be better than the agent he was working with, something like that. Is it kind of true? All right. Long story short, Corey really knows sales, like sales process, salesmanship, understanding people, reading people, psychology, all that stuff. This guy is a master at, and you'll actually hear this just in his mindset. He's got one of those mindsets that's just stronger than, like, he will outwill probably every agent. Like, there's a reason he's in the top 25 agents in the market or so, and he's only how many years in real estate? Fourth, 4 years in, sold how many homes last year? 300 something, 350 homes. How many millions so far in your career? 500. A little bit over 500 million in his first 3 years and some change. Is that pretty sweet? So I'm going to put Corey up here. He's a conversion expert, so much so that Zillow's asked him to open teams in places he's not even from, states he's not even from, because they know that he'll convert the leads and train his people to convert the leads. So I'm going to let him mostly talk, but I'm going to jump in and out because I want to help. So he didn't come with slides and all that, and I'm not going to ask him.
He's trying to say as my assistant didn't do all the fancy.
Yeah, no, we don't need a fancy thing. I'm gonna ask him a bit about his sales process and let him tell you about his psychology, his attitude, the process, answer the questions. But here to talk about don't be a tour guide. Sales skills pay the bills. Let's give a giant round of applause to Corey Smith with the Corey Smith Brood.
Unfortunately for you guys, I'm coming after Jenny and Ken, right? So I don't got a real formal thing that I do. I just find somebody to talk to and sell them something. So the best advice I can give you is sell something, right? So and I hadn't had my tequila this morning, so I'm a little bit off, all right? But can you get me a nice anejo? That would be fantastic. If you saw my cover, usually we grace ourselves with a tequila about lunchtime. Kind of evens out my mood a little bit because I'm a little moody in the mornings, right? Um, but Aaron's right. So I am just under 4 years in real estate, and we've just sold a lot of houses. I started a small team on accident. Now I'm a team of I think I got about 30 something here, something like that. We write a lot of business. I don't know a whole lot of this fancy stuff about nurturing stuff and databases and all that stuff. I try to teach my agents how to sell something as fast as possible. So there's a lot of different ways to make money I found in real estate. So some of the people in here, they've been around for 30 years. They got a big book of business. They're always going to make a living. We would like to be there at some point. But the reality is I had to figure out how to eat something today. Right. So I came from timeshare. I ran Marriott for many years and Hilton for a couple of years. Any of you familiar with timeshare knows you got to sell something pretty fast if you want to eat. So I kind of took that mentality into real estate, and I developed a sales process that for my agents, unlike what we see out in the market, two different things, right? I want to clarify this part. Most of the people out in the market are sphere of influence. They're talking to their neighbors. They're harassing people at school and church and all these places, and they don't really want to see you coming. But they do sometimes. You win sometimes, right? We're more of a lead-based program, so I try to hire a certain kind of agent that has a good personality. We don't really care about the real estate part of it, honestly. We have a team that helps the business part happen. But I try to hire right personalities, because if you're meeting somebody for the first time, they're choosing you based on how you show up, what you look like, the smile in your face, some company credibility. So we are a little different probably than 90% of real estate teams. We didn't have a big book of business the sponge off of. We had to go out and we had to figure out how to win people at a faster rate. So a lot of our training, we talk about the psychology of what people are going through when they meet you. We talk a lot about I teach people how to meet people. Sounds weird. Most people ain't good at it. So we talk a lot about little things that probably for most, it's people that do it naturally. I have about 15 of my agents. I don't even know if they can turn on the lights. They write a lot of business because they go out and they understand how to interact with the people. You laugh. I'm not kidding. I seriously, I got one lady, I don't even know how she gets back home every night. It's very bizarre, but you laugh, and I'm so serious. But the reality is she has a good personality and she has a good story. So a lot of things that we do, we talk about helping them develop their story, right? And what's special about them. Because the people really, for us, we're a big Zillow back team. You know, we get a couple hundred leads a month from Zillow. So Zillow is kind of like a dating site. I don't know if any of you have been on Tinder. Zillow's pretty damn close, right? So you're meeting those people, and within a couple minutes, they're sizing you up and deciding whether you're going to get a second opportunity or not. So we really talk more about what happens in that interaction. Now we've really got the statistics and stuff to back it up. So we really have the agents talk more about, you know, the company credibility and why we're who we are and what Zillow says about us. And we really lean on our reviews. So we just capture more customers faster than everybody. And then we have a very formal back end to the sales process that we usually are encouraging the people to write business faster.
Hey, Corey, can I jump in and ask you some questions about that?
Yeah, of course.
You're rolling. I don't want to cut you off. But tell us about what you say. Like for your team, how do you do what you just said? What are the words you actually use to tell a person about your credibility, your team sales, those things when you meet a lead or connect with them for the first time? What is it that you or your team is trained to say?
I tell them, Google me, bitch. I'm a just kid.
We're definitely turning that into a reel.
No, but really, you know, I try to explain to the agents that everybody that you meet thinks that real estate agents suck. And that's the real reality. So I try to get my agents to not to go out and be single agents, but lean on the tools we have, because it's very easy to say, Google the Corey Smith Group. Look at our 600 5-star reviews. Look at the 340 transactions or whatever we closed last year. Because these people, you got to understand, this is the biggest purchase of their life, and they have a lot of anxiety. So we do everything we can to lower their anxiety and make sure they know we're professionals, because their Uncle Vinny, who had a real estate license in 1982, just giving them advice, right? Because we've all run into that scenario, right?
So what can an agent be doing if they don't have as many sales as you and whatnot, but what do they need to do to get their stuff in order to have their credibility look as good as
You
it
need to
can?
lean on the team, right? You got to lean on the people around you, because your brokerage is doing business. You know, a lot of it is not being that single agent. It's very few people that have a big enough personality to capture enough business on their own. So I really tell the agents they got to lean on what, hey, Zillow's right there. It's easy to find my numbers. So we kind of lead with that.
Love it. Let's talk about conversion.
Yes, sir.
Phone rings with one of these leads. Walk them through the conversation and the sales process that you train your people to take someone through.
So my agents don't really answer a lot of calls because that puts a lot of pressure on
So
them.
let's say that you answered the call then. Walk them through how you would do it.
Which voice do you like? No, no, we just I answer the calls and I distribute to the right agents. You know, the reality is there's a lot of different different methodologies. I got some other flex partners in the room. Everybody does things a little bit different, but again, it's about winning that customer and having them choose you as their
A
agents.
better question. What are some of the questions you teach your people to ask or that you ask when they come in and they're asking about seeing a home, for example? Like I heard this one with you over lunch. One of the first questions he asked when he said a home was, I wanted to see a home. What did you ask him? Do you remember?
I asked them if there was any other homes in the area you want to see. You know?
Yeah, like simple things like that. I think just if you could walk them through like some of the questions that you want them thinking of and to ask when they get a lead, like what are these questions people aren't asking that you guys are?
I think more of it is not so much the questions that we ask, but talking a little bit about the urgency of the market. Because a lot of the things that we're seeing out there, because we're getting so many people coming into Florida from other states, is that they're watching all the clickbait saying that real estate, Florida's imploding. We're falling in a sinkhole. The hurricanes are killing us. They're hearing all this crazy. I mean, I heard that a guy told me the other day, I heard my insurance was going to be $50,000 a year. I was like, are you buying a mega yacht? Like, what are you talking about? They're hearing crazy stuff because you've seen all the clickbait ads telling them that Florida's imploding, and I tell them kind of the opposite of that in a very nice way. But the reality is reframing that the customers, because they all come in thinking in our fame is about urgency, right? Those of you been out there working lately, it's getting pretty tough to get deals pushed through. We're back to some multiple offers, and we're seeing some stuff out there that if you're not active in the real estate world, the customers have no clue what's going on or how difficult it is to find good houses at good prices and actually get a deal done. So we reframe the customers a lot really early in our process so they can understand that it's not, I tell them all the time, I don't know what's going on in Idaho, but the real estate's busy here. So good day or bad day, it's a great day to buy a house, right? I hear agents out here telling customers, man, real estate's been really slow. That's crazy. How are you going to encourage that person to buy something if you tell them something that crazy? I hear agents on tours passing me by telling me the real estate market is slow. Well, how are you going to get that person in a hurry to buy something? Doesn't make any sense. So some of it is what they say common sense is not so common.
You're on a roll. I didn't want to cut you off, but if you're looking at me, talk about some of the stuff you're doing to create more urgency. Like, what are some of the conversations you're actually having to create urgency, and what are some of the objections you get and the ways that you handle them?
So we have 2 weekly trainings with our team by Zoom, and I kind of always set the tone for my agents on what the urgency is for the time frame. So if it's December, you got to hurry up before the January people get here. If it's January, you got to hurry up before the February people get here. February, you got to hurry up before the March people get here. So in a sales environment, which I think for most of real estate, they don't really look at it as a sales environment, and it is. So I tell people all the time, no offense to the rest of you, that realtors suck. I run a sales team. I tell them on the first day, this is a sports team. We're going to win. This is a sales environment. If you want to go to Keller Williams, no offense to Keller Williams, and learn basket weaving and go to movie night, go do that shit over there. We don't do that. I'm here to make a living. I got an expensive lifestyle, and I got to sell something. I'm going to teach you how to do the same. So that's kind of what we do.
And I'll just jump in, and any brokerage that's doing culture or social things, I think he needs not necessarily a knock on one. But what else? Maybe anything else?
Easy to pick at. That's all.
Anything else that you think that you're constantly repeating to your people to make sure that they're following the sales process properly?
Yeah. We're more formal. We talk. He always says, "Don't be a tour guide," because he quoted me on one of the other segments I did. Don't be a tour guide. You're not Vanna damn White. Why are you out there talking about the curtains and the blinds? I teach my agents, if you're not talking about the business and the urgency and what's happening every day, or you're not having a non-business conversation. If they want to talk about their dogs and they're having a good time and you're making friends with them, that's excellent. But when I'm in the house, I'm never talking about the curtains and the blinds. Unless you're touring Ray Charles or Stevie Wonder, they can see the damn curtains and the blinds.
So what are you talking about?
I'm usually either not talking because I think it's creepy to follow them in a bedroom. Kind of weird, but I see agents do it every day. So either I'm not talking, or when I am talking, I'm talking about the urgency of the market, what's happening in that neighborhood, what's happening with pricing trends, the interest rates being down. We're having a conversation that's building toward a business and building that energy, that urgency, rather than just making small talk. If we're talking about being from Columbus, Georgia, and I know something about Columbus, Georgia, that conversation is great. But if you're just walking around talking about the dishwasher and the toaster oven, by the time you get to the part where you want to talk about the business, they can't hear you anymore because you've been talking to them for 45 straight minutes.
I love that. Any other things that you want to add about sales approach, things that you tell people they need to know?
Find somebody to talk to and sell something. Listen, I know a lot of people don't like Zillow or don't like lead programs. If you don't have anybody to talk to, you're going to be real skinny, and it's not because of CrossFit. So there's a lot of opportunities out here with, I'm not the only game in town. I know Miguel Diaz runs a flex team. He's always hiring. There's a lot of other opportunities in here. And what we find is the agents that are a little more experienced. I mean, $5 million is good. I'm sure you want to make a little bit more than that. look at some of the people around the room, the Jenny Wamers, the Ken Posicks. They all have different products that make them who they are. You have to find 5 million is great. I'm not knocking anybody, but you probably want to make a little bit more money than that. Find somebody and attach yourself to them and ask them. Jenny Wamer, I've only known her a couple months. She is a legend. She's been the most gracious to me of anybody I've met in this industry, and she don't need to. She was here before I even got here, right? But the reality is most of the people that I've met around that have that success, they're willing to tell you and help you and, invite you into their circle and tell you what they're doing to make a living. But if you're out here trying to figure it out yourself, it's tough.
Love it, love it. All right, let's give a giant round of applause to Corey Smith. Corey Smith Group. That was awesome, man.